All right, it is Do You Know, and we are in beautiful Pennock, Minnesota. It is fun days going on. There are lots of activities going on today. Beautiful weather, nice cool breeze. We're here for the parade, which is kind of wrapping up some of our summer activities and events that are going on around our community on Do You Know. We're just minutes before the parade, so let's check it out.
this is Bev Davis on the Master Gardener portion of Do You Know? And we're at the Candy-Ojai County Fair. Now, for years, the Master Gardeners and the Horticulture Society members of Candy-Ojai County have gotten together to put together a gorgeous, beautiful garden display right by the log cabin. But it's also educational. And with me is one of my colleagues in the Master Gardener program and longtime gardener, Becky West. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Bev. I'm just so glad to be here. I think.
Well, and you put a lot of time and effort into putting together this garden, and so for this year, what's the theme?
Well, and it wasn't just me. It's Maureen Pearson and I have been co-organizing this, but many Master Gardeners and horticulture members have participated with donating pots, and the theme this year is garden tips from Candy-Ojai gardeners. And Master Gardeners really do emphasize education, and hopefully this year we're going to just go over the top with that. And so we're encouraging people to come with their questions, with looking at things, and all of our tips are going to be put into brochures so people can purchase that, but also many of the tips are going to be highlighted on yellow flags throughout the garden.
Right, and we'll give them an example of that in just a second. The Master Gardener program, as you said, it's really about education, and for us to get the education and pass it along to other people, we try to keep updated on the latest and greatest in gardening and yard and insects and plant diseases and all of that. So let's give them an example of one of the garden tips. This one right here is about sedum, which is right here behind us.
And this tip is that if you pinch off tall sedums and garden mums in mid-June, when you should do that to keep them from getting lanky later, and then just push them into soil, they'll grow. So this is an example of what was done with sedums that were pinched off in June. Wonderful.
Yes, it really makes it nice so they don't get too leggy in the fall, absolutely. And there's another one right below us here, Becky, too, and this is about blueberries, which is really kind of tough to grow in our area.
Blueberries are almost impossible to grow in this area because our soil is way too alkaline. Blueberries require a pH that just acid soil, and so this has been planted in straight peat, which will provide the acid soil that blueberries need. These aren't really very showy yet. This is just the first year. These were about an inch tall when they arrived in June, and so they have put out some growth. And these are patio blueberries, so they'll never get to be too big. And then all of the blue insulators on the inside here are to keep the squirrels from digging those things out. And so this is kind of a double tip.
Right, and a lot of the tips that the Master Gardener have are very simple, they're very easy to do, they're low cost, and the Master Gardeners are here to answer any questions that the public might have. Well, actually, we're available for that any day of the year. This is Bev Davis with Becky West from the Candy-Ojai County Fair, and Do You Know?
I left you this morning, couldn't take any more. You laughed and you dared me to walk out the door. You said that I'd come back, you knew what I'd do. Well, you know you were right, I'm back here tonight, begging to you. I won't disappoint you, I'm begging to stay. That's what you wanted to hear anyway. It must make you happy to make me so blue. What a pitiful sight I must be tonight, begging to you. You don't want my loving, but you love